Hi, I'm Cyclon, and today we're gonna take a look at Scourge again. We are about 3 weeks into the league, and there are a lot of information and ways to make profit, or well, I guess 2 to 3 ways to make profit with Scourge. And I just want to summarize it all in one video. For those who are just interested in how to make quick money with Scourge, let's go with that first. So there is a tiny method, so something you can do on the side is scourging maps or items. So there are two things that you can do. You can take a 6 socket 5 link and scourge it and use, where is it? This one. Yeah. 15% chance to add a link to the largest group of links. So what can happen? You have a 15% chance whenever you scourge it to make one divine, or well, make a 6 link. And you can sell a 6 link for 1 divine, which currently go for 7 chaos. Simple method, not that much, but it's a good thing to do on the side because those bases are 1 chaos. And most of the time you can find them on the ground, and they are highlighted as 6 sockets in most filters. Next thing is scourged maps. You don't even have to run them. There are variants that sell. So what I do is I scourged rare T1 Haunted Mansion maps. They are on average good. There are other maps like Tropical Island and Laboratory that I know of that are also getting used a lot and have high returns. But in my case, Haunted Mansions, and for this example too. So we take this map and we take a filter, and you will just look, for example, you have one that has 3 Simulacrum Splinters and 3 Scarabs. Let's say like that. So you make a search like this that just has these two selected and say that is the 2 you want, and about mention it max tier 1. And as you can see, that's an Exalt or 2. Now, are many people buying these? Not yet. Are people buying these? Yes. Another YouTuber or content creator called Firegrass did make a video how you made 2 mirrors in a few days, I think 3 it was, with buying and running scourged maps, so this is definitely a way you can make profit, which brings us to the second way to make profit with Scourge, and either making them yourself or buying them and running them for profit. Of course, this includes afterwards selling everything you got to liquidize it and to have the profit in actual currency form in case of chaos and exalts. So that is for the profit part. Everybody who's not interested in the way anything is interesting about Scourge can move out here, and I hope it was helpful for you. For those guys who are actually interested in knowing a bit more about Scourge and the details, stay tuned, I will head right into it. The first things, there are 3 bosses. I don't know them by name. We can quickly head to the challenge to see them. Here. Baidat, Gore, and Kitash. They actually have an indicator. So, of course, they are randomly spawning when you go into Scourge Zone in a map or in a Scourged map, but you don't have to find them to know they're there. They have an indicator over the whole map that is showing them. So what I noticed is for the Archangel of Death that there are lightnings whenever you're in the Scourge Zone. Not the yellow arc lightnings from enemies, but actual lightnings from the top of the screen down to the ground. For Gore, the Grasping Maw, there are like purple blights on top of these ravens whenever you're in the Scourge Dimension. And lastly for Kitash, at least I'm not fully sure about this one, but I haven't found any other indicator, are red kind of explosion orbs, like these fiery explosions or cold explosions that are there for a bit and then explode, but in a lot smaller. So those will be the indicator for the bosses. Whenever you see those indicators, you can start fishing for the boss on the map. And there's another thing that I wanted to mention for the bosses, which is interesting. They do appear to drop an additional slot for the Crucible. So I have found one for items. I have not found one for maps yet, and I have not found one for anything else. I don't know if everybody drops the same and it gives the same, or if they drop different things. I cannot confirm that yet, but Gore, the Grasping Mark, can drop an additional furnace slot for scourging items. The next piece of information I would look at is actually when you switch into Scourge Dimension, you will spawn 1 to 2 packs, which can include rares. So there is a way to abuse that, namely in the Valdos Rest area. By using a Harbinger pack, you gain a good amount of blood, you switch to Scourge, you kill the 2 Scourge packs, you switch back into the normal dimension and continue killing the Harbinger. That can be done with other things as well. I think Blight works, Breach works, Legion works. So those also persist into the Scourge Dimension too, so you need to be a bit more careful there. But Harbinger works the safest. Now third, there are 2 general ways to run Scourged maps. One is in Glenach Cairn using using Beyond to get more rare. So you would run the Scourge map with Beyond and with those Scourge nodes, Atlas passive nodes. And yeah, well, you will just run those maps there, and profitable is Haunted Mansion. Oh, not Laboratory. Haunted Mansion, Park is okay. And there was one more. There it is, Tropical Island. Those 3 maps seem to have a stable amount of high rare monsters, so they are good to Scourge and either run or sell. The other thing, like Laboratory is good, but there is not a good thing on the Ascendancy, on the Atlas. Other thing is Valdos Rest, by using the Harbinger on top of Beyond to be able to get more into the Scourge map or into the Scourge Dimension. And here Estuary isn't that good, but Crimson Temple seemed good. And Spider Lair was okay. And Core map. Core is also quite interesting. So it is a high tier 1, I think. I think it was a high tier 1. Let's quickly check before I tell anything wrong. Yeah, T11. So while it is okay to run, it would be a higher tier 1, so you need a stronger character. Okay, that being said, for recommendations for Scourging, I would stay with Haunted Mansion. It's easy to sustain by Prophecy. Now, the next thing is there are prophecies that actually work in the Scourge Dimension. And that is the Twins Prophecy. Twins says whenever you encounter a powerful monster, it's duplicated. A powerful monster in this case is a rare. So everywhere in the normal dimension and the Scourge Dimension is duplicated. So that means literally double the reward. You are not able to force the proc, but whenever you run a lot of Scourge maps, you should also always have a lot of Twins. It did risen in price by quite a bit. It is usually a 1 Chaos Prophecy. So it is a higher investment, so you would have to run good Scourge maps to actually make it worth running the Twins on top. There was... The other thing is when you kill an enemy, I don't know the name of the prophecy right now, it respawns as a rare. That works, but you would need to leave it in your inventory and always reapply it in the Scourge Dimension. So that would be a more active playstyle, but also a quite good one again, because you can force it a bit better, because it is guaranteed proc when you kill an enemy. And lastly is, when you kill an enemy, you spawn Tormented Spirits. So if you can do that on one rare and get the spirit on another rare, the rare has increased quantity, which should affect its tainted currency drops, but not the guaranteed drops, because those aren't linked to the rare directly. Okay, now that that's said, there is not a whole lot more to tell about the Scourge Dimension. Like, there is a blood counter, it's kept at 300, but that is not really that important. It got buffed, but that's not really that important for most people, because it, like, you use it anyway. So the last thing I want to mention is there are actually watchstones that work with the Scourge. I kept that for last, so only those who actually stay till the end can actually know this trick, or if you haven't known of it before, I assume. The Watchstone emblematic works with the Scourge splinter drops. With the Scourge Legion splinter drops. So when a Scourge, when it says drops Scourge rare Scourge monsters drop Legion splinters, and you have an emblematic, the Legion splinter can drop as an emblem instead. Because it's a stack, for each splinter that drops you have a chance to get an emblem. So that's like a huge more reward. Another thing that seems to work are the Simulacrum splinters. Those says when they drop in a bigger stack. And that should also work with the Scourge, as it is apparently intended for Watchstones, where they say if something drops, it drops as something else instead. Does work with the Scourge rewards. That is the last thing I wanted to mention. For everybody who will listen to now, I really appreciate that, and I wish you a great day.